because I got so much more energy of inspiring you guys and girls doing your startup thing and making all the connections with people I know from my last 30 years in the whole sort of ecosystem in the Netherlands and abroad.
Welcome to the Startup Passport by Frontwalker. Today I'm joined by Joris Meijaard. Thank you much for joining. You are the academic director for the Entrepreneurship program at Erasmus University. But you have also been an entrepreneur yourself, and now you have been teaching entrepreneurship for over 20 years combined.
Yeah, sure.
Can you walk us through that timeline a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Paul. Happy to be here. So originally I did econometrics, which had nothing to do with entrepreneurship, and I definitely did not come from sort of an entrepreneurial background. Maybe my grandfather used to have a sort of a grocery store, but my father, he was a sort of a civil servant, and my mother was a stay-at-home mom, which actually. Well, she could have done a lot more, but she chose to stay at home. That was sort of the time, right? She was always jealous of her daughters-in-law that were all doing these career things, which wasn't her thing, sort of organization in the past. No, but I ended up doing a postdoc with a guy that was, so I did econometrics, then did a postdoc with a guy called Roy Turek, which is sort of a celebrity in entrepreneurship research. And he asked me, well, isn't this something for you? And then I joined Pantaya, which is a consultancy firm in the Netherlands that does a lot of research on what determines the growth of firms and what is the role of entrepreneurs in the economy. So did a lot of research and a lot of interviews in that time. And then in 2010, I started my own company. I did new business development and sort of helping companies grow when they do an acquisition or a merger, and then helping them work out the further path. And in 2018, I came back to Rotterdam and started working again 1 day a week at university, because one thing I was missing to tell was that when I was working at Pantaya, the consulting firm on entrepreneurship, I also started, the real co-founders were Wienand Bodewis, but we started like the entrepreneurship master at RSM, because I think, honestly saying, sort of the topic entrepreneurship being something for academics is about that age. Of course, there's Schumpeter that 100 years ago wrote smart things about entrepreneurship, but really the room for and also the using entrepreneurship as a way to sort of get to know yourself. And you're doing my master, so it's about sort of experiential learning, and by doing entrepreneurial things, learning that you can build great new businesses, and just by exploring that helps a lot in your personal development, and I enjoy that. So have been doing that since 5 years now, being the academic director of that master, where I originally was just one of the folks starting that up. Yeah.
So you have been essentially then at some point working for a company, also working at RSM at the same time.
Yep.
Then you became an entrepreneur yourself.
Yep.
But then you ended up afterwards teaching again.
Yep.
Teaching and also being a big part of establishing the entrepreneurship program, or trying to making it better. So what do you like about the teaching aspect of things, or then also kind of like leading the next generation of entrepreneurs? Because you could still be one yourself if you wanted to.
No, that's I even chose sort of consciously to, instead of the 1 day a week, move to 100% a week doing this, because I got so much more energy of inspiring you guys and girls doing your startup thing and making all the connections with people I know from my last 30 years in the whole sort of ecosystem in the Netherlands and abroad. So I really enjoy sort of helping you find the best in yourself, and then helping that along the way with good connections with alumni, for some it's also with policymakers if it's about complex startup ideas or growth ideas. But really enjoy sort of having the very experiential learning environment where there's enough room for you at the same time to, for instance, do many podcasts and hosts, talk shows, things like that you're doing, and still do an academic education which actually makes you think critically and be analytical and so that's what sort of a normal academic education is for. But I really love to try and find a way for everybody to do both at the same time and not to be the hurdle, because that was something that, especially in the first 20 years, I was very much sort of disappointed that the people that were most entrepreneurial were struggling the most. And I think that is has changed a bit, although it's always a matter of making choices with your time, for sure.
And well, you have been pretty passionate about trying to make the entrepreneurship program at RSM in Rotterdam better. And well, it has been paying off, right? I think now also in the rankings, I think one of the most recent rankings said that the RSM program, the Strategic Entrepreneurship Program, was voted as the best one in Europe. So the best one outside of America, where obviously their entrepreneurship has a whole different like stance within the society. But what do you think then, since you have been working on that, and it's also partially your achievement, what do you think makes up a good entrepreneurship program at an educational institution? Do you think entrepreneurship is something that can be taught?
It's always something that the first day or the first moment I meet students is at the open days. And one of the things I always say in that first pitch is, no, it is eventually about doing things outside of the university. So what we can give you is sort of a safe space to experiment and to already know whether it's something for you. And we can give you a lot of tools which will be useful to actually do it in real life. And we also enjoy it very much when you already do it in real life at the same time. But I think the key thing is, of course, to have a good balance there, because we really do still want to make sure that everybody that graduates is actually this critical thinker, analytical person, creative, but still also with a package of what is evidence, what is just fake, and make sure that you're good at that, and that you're then able to scale that. But
And now that you see so many students who have a passion for entrepreneurship, some of them have their own businesses, some of them you maybe see during the year use their company as part of some studies, maybe their thesis, and then they try to scale it or try to make it their full-time job. From your perspective, when you try to look at those students, when do you think, oh yeah, that's something that I think could work out? Are you looking at the idea first and the business model, or how much do you think are you looking at like the entrepreneur themselves? So is there kind of, how do you weigh that kind of thing?
So and I think that also relates to can you teach it? I mean, I think so we try to help with whatever idea you have to help you just get out of the building and test it out, because and to find the people that have the real problem and talk to them and pivot away from whatever you thought was important to what is really needed. And so I definitely think that sort of the person that does that, some people already are very good at many of the important things when they enter the building. And then, so it's sort of what brings me the most sort of pleasure is also to have the people where you think, well, this is probably somebody that will just go into consulting, and then in the course of the year that they actually find out that that they're actually pretty good at this more fake, less tangible, out of the building, listening to people and reacting to that. So.
Do you think there's a good moment for when people can turn into an entrepreneur? So because you have been yourself, and now you're very involved with teaching students. Do you think it is helpful for people to maybe first work a job, get insights in a job, see how organizations work, and then based on that experience start their own business? Or do you think well, sometimes also with a fresh, unbiased mindset, do something straight out of university. What do you think? Is there a better way?
No, there's no better way. It's definitely both paths are awesome. So the advantage of starting right out of university is, of course, that you have all the time, no kids, stuff like that, that you can really put in many hours to learn. But you make many mistakes that you wouldn't make if you would have started first in a job that inspires you and that you see how it works. So also for me, I mean, I think having worked in an organization that where a lot of the processes are very well organized really helped a lot to be better and to recognize what you can bring as an added value. But I also love my students that actually start right out of the university, and then, but you have to be a good listener and have to be able to become efficient or effective in your own way then, or have to find older people that do have the experience to make sure that you don't struggle too much with your time with all the stuff, the wheels that have already been invented, right? I mean,
and you mentioned well, having a lot of or more time when coming straight out of university because you just have less responsibilities, most likely. So how do you see the whole thing when well, there's a big thing, of course, online talking about hustle culture and people saying entrepreneurship is so beautiful, you know, because you can put in so many hours, but it's all for yourself. But how do you see that kind of aspect with, especially when starting off building a company with how much work you have to put in? How do you feel about the whole like balance aspect, balancing your time?
No, so balancing is definitely something that we pay attention to in the studies. But I do think that on the side, if you really want to build something scalable, on the side won't work. Of course, on the side works to experiment, to see whether things have any traction, those kinds of things. But once you have something which you really believe in, the focus will be so much more successful than doing it on the side.
And we always like to end the interview with some quick fire questions. That's what we call them. So it's a short question for some short answers. The first one for you. Research or practice?
Practice.
Sole founder or team?
Team.
We have fail fast or take more time to get it right?
Fail fast.
Fail fast?
Yeah, sure.
Incubator or accelerator?
Accelerate.
Accelerate. We have evidence or gut feeling?
Evidence. Still. Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting one for you. Academic paper or startup pitch?
Startup pitch for sure.
Startup pitch for sure.
Yeah.
And then, well, the last question for you. My goal is for the next generation of entrepreneurs in Rotterdam to
be agents of positive change. No, it sounds very corny. This is our mission of the school, but I really think that is for us as a responsibility as a university is to have you think big, but also think big in a responsible way. So I really love that as a mission.
On brand as well, on brand.
For sure.
Joris, thank you very much for all of the insights and to get a little bit of insights on your personal story as well.
Thanks, Paul.
And for joining the podcast.
Yeah, cool. Thanks.